What up, earthlings? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Marin and welcome. So if you caught my last video, you know that I was going to talk about how I quit drinking alcohol, my backstory, my relationship with alcohol, and how I quit on my own, and the benefits that it's had on my life since I quit drinking. Now, a couple of things I want to throw out there before I begin is that I'm in no way, shape, or form telling you how to live your life. This is not me saying don't drink alcohol, alcohol is bad for everybody. That's not what I'm saying. Not everybody gets angry when they drink, not everybody's an alcoholic like I am. But if you're somebody who's looking to quit or maybe just cut back for a while and you want to know about some benefits that it may have on your life, then just keep watching. Second thing I want to put out there is I'm not looking for a pity party or people to feel sorry for me. I'm putting this out here because I hid it from so many people. Nobody knew how bad I really was, and I know there's other people out there that are hiding it just as well as I did, and I just want to get this out there in hopes that I can reach out to somebody and help them, because I know there's so many people out there who are struggling with this addiction. The third thing I want to get across is I'm not a doctor. If you feel like you're very heavy into alcoholism, please get medical help when you quit, because your withdrawals can be very bad to the point where they could be lethal. So if you feel like you're somebody who really cannot function without it at all, please don't do this on your own, because it can have very negative side effects. Fourth thing I want to say is, Mom and Dad, if you end up watching this, I'm so sorry for some of the lies that are going to come to light in this video. Not only do I hope this video helps other people, but it's really going to help me as well and be pretty therapeutic for me to get a lot of these things out and off my chest, because I've been holding them inside for so many years that I need to get this out and release it so I can let go. Okay, with all of that being said, let's just jump on into the video. So I'm going to start with my backstory and my relationship with alcohol. If you want to skip this part, in the description box down below, I will put the minute that you can skip to if you don't want to hear my backstory. It's going to be a little bit emotional because I'm going to be telling things that I have never told anybody, and when I say anybody, I mean anyone. Nobody in my life knows about some of the things I'm about to discuss in this video. But if you don't want to hear my relationship and my backstory with alcohol, I will put where you can skip to if you just want to get straight to the benefits and how it's improved my life so far. Okay, so my relationship with alcohol. Like I said before, not everybody has a bad relationship with alcohol. Me, on the other hand, every bad thing that has ever happened in my life, alcohol was somehow involved. I started drinking, I think, when a lot of people start, about 15, 16. I think it was about the summer going into 10th grade. I grew up a pretty shy girl. I was pretty reserved. Now, around my family and my close friends, that wasn't the case. I was pretty outgoing in my close group of friends. But when I was out in public around people I didn't know, I had social anxiety and I was very, very shy. My grandmother even called me Silent Sam when I was little because I just didn't talk. So I think that alcohol, when I first tried it, really brought me out of my shell, which I loved because I was like, wow, I finally found something that is going to make me not shy anymore. Also, this is going to be a whole nother video, but since my spiritual awakening and on this journey, I've realized that I'm an empath, and I have been an empath my whole life. And if you don't know what an empath is, you can look it up for yourself. Basically, it's a person that takes on other people's feelings and emotions. So if I'm around somebody who's very sad or happy, I can feel that energy and I'm absorbing that energy, and it can be very draining. So I feel like I was always kind of a depressed child and I just wasn't that happy. So when I first discovered alcohol, it was filling this void for me of a temporary feeling of happiness. And I think that's what also got me hooked on it. But I will do a whole video on empaths and how to stop absorbing other people's energy. So that will be a whole nother separate video. With all of that being said, I started drinking about the summer going into 10th grade. I remember the party that I was at. I had Captain Morgan and Coke in a little coffee cup, and I remember about halfway through the drink is when I started to feel it entering my bloodstream. And I remember standing up and being like, oh my God, this feels great. And I was finally coming out of my shell, and I was instantly hooked. I remember just feeling so outgoing and being like, oh my God, like I can finally express my true self. And I finally felt like a happy feeling inside, which for so long I didn't feel happy. If you hear something that sounds like a baby crying, it's not a baby, it's my cat. What baby? Say hi, everybody. Hi. This is Monkey, my big 22-pounder. Look at this guy. Look at how big you are, baby. So from that point on, I was hooked. So I'm from a tiny little town in northern Minnesota, not much to do. So what did we do in high school? We drank. We would drive around, we would go party in the middle of the woods. I started having a pretty heavy relationship with alcohol at a young age. About my junior and senior year is when we started drinking like almost every day after school. Okay, so my parents' house is about 30 miles away from the town I went to school in. So my parents' house is out on a lake in the middle of nowhere, basically. I would get really drunk after school and I would drive home that entire way. And I would black out a lot of that. I remember one day I woke up and my car was all smashed in the passenger side of my front window. It was smashed in, and to this day I don't have any clue what I hit. And I would drive like that all of the time. Alcohol always affected me differently than it affected my friends. Yeah, we would all get kind of, wild and crazy, but I was the one that got mean. I got angry. I would be the one starting fights with my friends, physical and non-physical. And it was always like, oh, Maren's gonna get drunk again. Like, people were almost scared to drink with me because I always took it to the next level. I didn't know when to stop after one drink. I had absolutely no self-control, and it always made me an angry drunk. It made me mean, rude, defensive, and violent, always. And there was really never a time where I got happy drunk, maybe a couple times, but 85% of the time I was getting angry and out of control. So graduated high school when I was 18. It was that summer, and me and my friend went to a club in a town about an hour away, and we drank the whole way there, and I was the driver. Didn't get pulled over, everything was fine. Went in to the club, danced, partied. We snuck in alcohol and water bottles in our purses, so we were drinking while we were in there. While we left, and I got pulled over and got my first DUI. That made me lose my license and go on probation. Now fast forward a couple more months. Me and one of my best friends growing up in high school moved 4 hours away to a town called St. Cloud, Minnesota, and we got our own apartment. And we ended up drinking a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean every night I would finish like a liter of rum to myself and I would black out. And we did this for months. Now, mind you, my landlord happened to live right underneath us. And she was an older lady, obviously not staying up as late as we were, and we would throw parties like every night. And she ended up calling the cops like every time. So I ended up getting 4 minor consumptions in 1 month. And that was in the same county. And mind you, I was still on probation for my DUI, so I wasn't supposed to be drinking in the first place. So it was violating my probation. So I had to go to jail for 13 days. So you would have thought that would have scared me into quitting drinking. You would have thought that would have made a light bulb go off, like I have a problem, but it didn't. What was I doing the whole time in jail? I was counting down the days till I could get out, until I could go party again. And what did I do the day that I got out? Went and partied again. I was laughing, bragging, thought I was so badass and cool because I was in jail, just being immature and stupid. Then I got caught a couple times driving without a license, which also extended my probation. So I was on probation this time around for many, many years. Fast forward a couple years, I moved to Colorado, and the drinking still was heavy, still blacking out. So I was finally able to get my license back. So slowly the drinking and driving began to happen again. So I went out for a friend's 21st birthday. We got wild and crazy, of course, blacking out. Well, I did anyway. And we ended up getting a cab that night back to my friend's house. So we got to her house at about 3 a.m. Really, really drunk still. Passed out for a couple hours. My friend actually had to go to work at like 7 that morning, so I ended up leaving her house at like 6:30 in the morning. So I only passed out for a couple hours, woke up still drunk, but I was like, oh, it's morning, I'll be fine. So I'm driving home, and all of a sudden, whoop whoop, lights behind me, and I'm getting pulled over. Officer comes to my car, he's like, ma'am, do you know why I pulled you over? And I knew it was because my tabs were expired. So he's like, yes, your tabs are expired. And then he was like, ma'am, you smell like alcohol. Have you been drinking? And I explained to him that I had drank the night before. Didn't matter, took a breathalyzer and failed. So I'm in the back of a sheriff's car getting my second DUI. So in Colorado, even a first-time DUI is an automatic 30 days in jail. So go to court, get sentenced, automatic 30 days in jail. They wouldn't give me work release, had to quit my job and go to jail. So I did that. Now, right before I went into jail, which I've talked about in my previous Law of Attraction videos, is when I discovered The Secret. One of my best friends in Colorado, hey, if you're watching, you know who you are. You're a lifesaver, by the way. He showed me The Secret. So I watched that right before I went into jail. So the funny thing is looking back now, I really put it to the test, and I was writing down things every day that I wanted to happen. Everything that I would write down in jail ended up coming true when I got out. I also wrote that I was going to get out early, and I did. I got out after day 19 because they were at maximum capacity. I wrote down that I was going to get a tattoo sleeve, and I ended up actually getting this sleeve pretty much almost immediately when I got out. And one of my really good friends actually did it for me for free as a going away present because I was moving back home to Minnesota. So that's another thing. It's just funny looking back now because I wasn't clouded by alcohol or marijuana. So my vibrations were so high that I was very easily able to manifest things. So while I was in jail, I decided that I was going to move back home to Minnesota. I was like, I'm not going to have a license. I don't have a job now. I can't afford to be living paying rent. So I decided to move back in home with my parents. So I was about 25 or 26 at this point. So I moved back home to Minnesota. I slowed down on the drinking a little bit, but I was still bartending, so I was still drinking at work. You don't have to be an everyday drinker to be an alcoholic. But when I drank, I would get to the point where I would black out and do stupid things. Now, usually at work, I could maintain. I would just have a few drinks throughout my shift. Another thing I want to put out there is that I have a thing called essential tremors where my hands have a slight tremor. It runs in my family. Doctors don't really know what it's from. Maybe it's them high vibrations, I don't know. But so I had that. So when I would drink and be hungover the next day, my shakes would be very, very bad. Alcohol made them 100 times worse. But it also was the only thing that cured me from them. So I would have to have a couple drinks before work just to cure my shakes. Now, a line that stuck out to me that a friend told me a while ago was, you can't fix a problem with what created the problem in the first place. And that's what I was doing. So I would be going out, getting drunk, and then waking up so shaky and hungover that I would have to have a few drinks just to be able to function at work the next day. I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad, about the things I'm about to talk about. This next part of the video is going to be really hard for me, but it's not healthy to hold these things inside, and I really need to get them out into the open. And because I know there's other people out there who are hiding and suffering their addictions on the inside, and I just want you to know that you can get help and you can get better. So I ended up being able to get my license back in Minnesota. My uncle, being the kind-hearted soul that he is, had an extra car and he gave it to me for free. So I had a car to get to and from work. So slowly I started drinking and driving again. So one night at work, I got really, really, really drunk, and I don't remember closing the bar. I don't remember leaving, and I ended up crashing my car into a tree and totaling my car. Like I said, northern Minnesota, it was winter. It was below zero that night. It was so cold. The only thing I can think of is that I passed out behind the wheel while I was driving. I must have fallen asleep, just passed out because I was so drunk. And I'm so nervous to talk about this next part. Okay. I just remember getting out of my car and it sobered me up a little bit because I was in shock, and the whole front end of my car was smoking. It was smashed. Thankfully I was wearing my seatbelt so I didn't get hurt, but I just remember being so disappointed in myself. And I was like, I can't believe I drank and drove wasted again. And I was just, all these things were going through my head. Like, my parents are gonna know I was drinking and driving. I'm gonna get a third DUI and go to jail for months. I was just so let down with myself and so disgusted, and I felt so trapped and lost, and I just felt like alcohol had this control over me. I was so lost, I didn't know what to do. And mind you, my parents live out in the middle of nowhere in the woods, and I wanted to take off all my clothes and bury myself in the snow and hope that nobody found me. I wanted to freeze to death. I didn't want to live anymore. And I was literally getting ready to go do that and bury myself in the snow when, I shit you not, my parents' best friends came around the corner and they saw me and they stopped. I just remember seeing headlights, and they yelled out the window and they were like, "Maren, are you okay?" And I really feel like somebody above was watching me that night, because if they wouldn't have came around the corner, I honestly don't think I would be here right now. Nobody knows this, and nobody knows how bad it really was. And the reason I'm sharing this is because I know there's people out there who are hurting on the inside and who hid it as well as I did. And I just want you to know that you have to let it out. You have to tell somebody. You can get better. You really can. To this day, my parents think that I swerved to miss a deer, but I didn't. I was wasted. And I think deep down my dad always has kind of known. And Mom and Dad, if you end up watching this, I'm so sorry. Please don't be mad at me. I was in a really bad place, and I hid it very well. And so after that, you would have thought that that would have shook me to the core, but I was so sick and hungover the next day that I'm pretty sure I had more drinks at work. Now, I don't regret that I moved back home with my parents, because in that time is when I really dove into my spirituality. I read so many books, I watched so many documentaries, just really found who I was. In the midst of still drinking, I still don't regret anything that happened, because I really found who I was. And the only thing that was holding me back through all of that was the alcohol. So I was in Minnesota for a couple years, and then I said that's when I was really getting into manifesting and writing in my journals, and I manifested my life here in Florida. Now, my drinking got a lot less frequent, but I was still a bartender, still drinking during work, still going out after work, blowing all my tip money and getting wasted. So then I ended up getting into a toxic relationship, and even though we were into the same spiritual ideas and he was awakened, sorry, I know that's a cliche word, it was still toxic, and we would drink and we would fight really bad when we drank. And one day I was throwing up in the shower, and I was just so completely over it. We had broken up for like the 5th time because of a fight we gotten in with alcohol. And I remember just throwing up and crying, curled up in a ball. I remember asking the universe just to help me get through this and conquer it. And that night I looked up how to treat yourself from alcoholism online, and I came across tapering. So what tapering basically is weaning yourself off. Now, like I said before, if you're somebody who doesn't feel like even tapering will benefit you, please get help, because withdrawal symptoms can be very, very serious. So please, if you feel like you're gonna have major withdrawals, please get medical assistance if you're trying to quit. I went from drinking, steadily my whole shift at work to a couple drinks. And then I had a couple drinks to 1 drink. And then I went from 1 drink a day to absolutely nothing. And that worked for me. I couldn't just quit cold turkey because of my essential tremor, and also I'm sure that it wasn't just the tremor, it was withdrawal symptoms from alcohol. But I slowly weaned myself off, and I haven't touched a drop of alcohol since August 26th, 2017. And I'm never looking back. And like I said in my other video, you couldn't pay me to touch alcohol ever again. So I just wanted to share my relationship with alcohol, because so many people were surprised now when I tell them what, and they're like, why don't you drink? And I'm like, I was an alcoholic. They're like, no, you weren't. Yeah, you got crazy sometimes, but you weren't an alcoholic. That's how well I hid it. Nobody had any idea. You guys, I was hiding vodka in water bottles in my car, in my closet. I was literally a closet drinker. If I didn't have alcohol to drink before work, I would get to work and customers would, offer to buy me this and that, and I would drink at work. And nobody knew, because I was functional drunk, and I was able to handle myself at work. And then the second I would get off of work is when I would go ham and I would black out, and bad things would continue to happen. Now I'm gonna jump into the positive effects that it's had on my life, and potentially the benefits that it could have for your life. So let's just jump on into what has happened personally for me since I quit drinking alcohol. If you catch me looking down a lot, it's because I have a list here. Look at how long that is, of all the things that have happened since I quit. So where do I begin? I mean, there's so many, you guys. So first and foremost, obviously you don't wake up with a hangover. There's nothing like waking up and feeling energized, not feeling sick, not feeling tired, not feeling like you have to drink 7 gallons of water just to feel normal again. Being able to get up early and enjoy the beautiful day and have energy and not feel like shit. Pardon my French, but it's an amazing feeling. Going to the bathroom, now this is gonna be a little bit of TMI, but the alcohol was a killer for me. When I would have even just one drink, I wouldn't go number 2 for days upon days at a time, because I was so dehydrated. And when you're backed up that much toxic waste in your body is terrible for you. And that also can make you an angry person, because you're literally being poisoned by your own feces, which is disgusting to think about. And since I quit, I'm having absolutely no problems with that. And that leads me into bloating. I was always retaining water because I was dehydrated. So any amount of water that I had in me, my body was just holding on to it, because it didn't know when I was gonna have water again, because I was so dehydrated. I was always puffy. And even if you look in my previous videos, you can see it in my face and in my body that I was so puffy and just holding on to water. And this leads me into my next thing, which is weight loss. Alcohol has so many empty calories you don't even think about. Even though I was usually mixing like a flavored vodka with water, still about a shot of alcohol has about 70 to 100 calories. Now, I wasn't even making my drinks with one shot. My drinks were like half and half. So I probably had 500, 600 calories in one drink, and I was drinking many of those a day when I was drinking. So cutting that out without even working out, immediately the pounds were just melting off of me. And that leads me into exercise. This is also going to be a whole nother video. Since I quit drinking, I started weightlifting, and wow, it is amazing how much weightlifting has actually improved my life. I 100% think it's helped carry me through this, and it's now a new, healthier addiction of mine. I feel like it's been a mental game changer for me. It has helped me to release old emotions. If you look up deep muscle tissue emotions, there's some crazy stuff out there about it. The first month I started working out, I would be bawling my eyes out during my workouts. Not because it was hard or anything, but it's hard to explain. It was just like all these emotions that I were kept inside were just flooding out of me, and it felt so releasing and so good. I'll do a whole separate video on weightlifting and exercise, but I definitely feel like this has totally helped me. And you're more motivated. When you are hungover all the time, you're dehydrated, you don't have energy. Your body was literally being poisoned, so it's not gonna function properly when you're trying to work out. So I just never worked out because I was always way too tired. To go along with that, you end up looking better. My eyes are brighter. My skin is brighter. Alcohol, it dehydrates you so much. My skin was always so dehydrated. My eyes were red and dehydrated. My hair was fragile and breaking because I was dehydrated. You just look better. Your mood. You are so much happier when you're not drinking. Now, This is also going to be probably another video I'll do in the future. But what's interesting is 95% of our serotonin, like your happy brain, is created in the stomach, in the gut brain. So when you're constantly poisoning yourself and stripping yourself of all that good bacteria, you're gonna not feel good. You're gonna be depressed. And I already had bad gut bacteria from being on a lot of antibiotics when I was little. And I think that's another reason why I felt depressed all the time. And I was just chasing this serotonin, this dopamine rush, and trying to fill a void with alcohol. And I take probiotics now, which has tremendously helped my mood as well. Like I said, that'll be a whole nother separate video. You don't have these crazy mood swings. Like, I'm just so much happier of a person because I'm taking care of my body from the inside out. And when you feel good on the inside, you feel better all around and your moods aren't so up and down. And I was such an angry person for so long, and it just feels great to feel happy again. So to go along with gut health, it balances your body's pH. When you're drinking alcohol, it makes you very acidic. So now that I quit drinking, my body's more alkaline. I was a sweater for so many years. Like, I couldn't wear cotton shirts, even in -degree weather in Minnesota, because I was sweating so much that I would get pit stains like that. Now that I don't drink, my body's always balanced at a nice healthy pH. I don't sweat like I used to. I know it's healthy to sweat, and I definitely still sweat when I'm working out and all of that, but I'm not just always overheated. Like, I had such a heat intolerance, it was crazy, and now my body just feels normal. For all my ladies out there, if you suffer from irregular periods like I did my whole entire life, when you're drinking a poison, as much as I was, it messes with your internal organs and it messes with your whole body system. So I wouldn't get my periods sometimes for 3-4 months at a time. And I always thought that I just had polycystic ovaries or whatever the case. But since I've quit drinking in these last 5 months, I get my period every month, on the month, when I'm supposed to, and I don't have any problems with that. Anxiety. Anxiety is a huge one. So many times I would black out, waking up like, oh my God, what did I do? What happened? How did I get home? Did I drive? Who did I piss off this time? Who was I mean to this time? Did I punch a hole in somebody's wall? Did I give somebody a bloody nose? Did I get kicked out of a bar? Did I get arrested last night? So many things go through your mind when you wake up like that. And it's the worst feeling of not knowing what happened. It's so wonderful waking up every day, remembering the whole night before and never having to worry about the stupid things you did while being intoxicated. So anxiety is huge. Not even with just blacking out, but alcohol, I feel like, creates anxiety in the body anyways. So sometimes I was just had this social anxiety and this nervous feeling for no reason. And then you self-medicate with alcohol, which just turns into this vicious cycle, and it gets worse and worse and worse. So I am so stress-free these past few months. It feels amazing. And when you don't have anxiety, you are healthier. When you have anxiety and you're stressed, your body produces cortisol, which also makes you gain weight and hold on to fat. So that's another thing that ties into the weight loss thing. When you reduce your anxiety, your whole body just gets healthier. Less brain fog. You have more clarity. I almost feel like a superhero sometimes. Like, all of my 5 senses are being heightened. Like, I feel like I can smell things better, I can see better, I can hear better, I can taste things better. It's crazy how much different your senses are when you stop poisoning your body. Sleep is a huge one. So many people struggle with sleep. Now, when you drink alcohol, it makes it so your body does not go into a deep REM sleep. And when you're not going into a deep REM sleep, your body's not getting the full potential rest that it needs. So when you cut out the drinking, you are getting that deep, restful sleep, which is also crucial for your body's health. Sleeping is one of the most important things that we need as human beings. It's when our body is literally, all of our cells are recovering and recuperating from the damage that we put it through every day. And when you aren't getting a solid night's sleep, your body doesn't have the chance to do that. So sleep is huge. And to go along with that, your dreams come back. I've been having the most vivid, crazy dreams, and they're pretty awesome, I'm not gonna lie. So your dreams come back. Like when you used to dream as a child, that's what it's like. And I'm having a lot of lucid dreams too, which is pretty sweet. Your friendships improve. Man, like, I already always kept kind of a small circle, but when you quit drinking, it's amazing how much smaller your circle can get. I can think of so many people throughout my life who I thought were like my best friends, but they were really just acquaintances that I went out with to get drunk with. You know, they were just bar buddies. They weren't real friendships based on any real foundations. And it's so amazing now that when you quit drinking, your vibe attracts your tribe, and you find more people who aren't into drinking and like to do other things, and you create real solid relationships with people based on real things. Not just like, hey, go get ready, let's go get messed up tonight. No, you actually have better relationships with your friends, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your family members, everybody involved in your life. I promise you will end up having a deeper, closer relationship with. Creativity. Like I said before, I stopped making videos for a year because I was lost in this cloud of alcohol and I had no motivation, and I just had no drive or creativity to do anything because I was always tired and hungover. My body was just always trying to like recuperate. Since being sober, you don't even know how many video ideas I have. I just can't wait to get this content out and follow my passion and do what I love. And that spark in me is back, and I'm ready to follow my dreams. You're high on life. This one's really big for me because, like I said, I was kind of always a depressed person, chasing that dopamine, serotonin rush. That's why I loved alcohol so much. It was a temporary fix to feel happy. I loved smoking weed because it was a temporary fix to feel happy. I was always in back-to-back relationships because, you know, in that beginning of a relationship, you get that rush of dopamine and serotonin. So I was always just trying to fill this void because I wasn't happy on the inside. And once you quit poisoning yourself and you quit drinking, you guys, I never believed anyone when they said they were high on life. I was like, there's no way I'll ever feel happy like that without drugs or alcohol. But I honestly have never felt this happy in my entire life. I wake up high on life every day, and I wouldn't trade sobriety for the world. You could not pay me any amount of money to drink again. And this is huge for me because if you would have told me a couple years ago that I would be sitting here right now filming a video about sobriety, I would have laughed in your face. I just never thought I would get to this point. I never thought I'd be able to feel happy without a substance. And I feel happier now than I ever did while being drunk or high. And that's another thing that really motivated me to quit, was I watched a lot of videos on YouTube of people who quit, and they were talking about this and how they feel so much happier and high on life. And that was really motivational for me. I'll link in the description box down below a couple videos that I watched. You can check them out too. Just because they are really motivational, and it really makes you want to stick to this and just really try being sober. Another thing is work ethic and productivity, which kind of goes into what I've already said. You put your heart into things more. You get up earlier. You can have a longer, better day. You can enjoy the day. You have more time to do things because you're not laying in bed all day feeling sick and hungover. So those are just some of the many benefits that I've personally felt. Like I said before, I'm not judging you if you still drink. I'm still a bartender, and I'm around alcohol 5 days a week, even during when I first quit. Now, I don't know if that makes me sound hypocritical. I'm an Aries. I like a challenge. I don't know, but that's where the motivational videos really came into play, because even though I was around it every day, I didn't want to touch it because I really wanted to see how my body felt after I gave myself a break from it. And yes, I went through a few withdrawal symptoms. I had the night sweats for about a week. My tremors were bad for about a week, but now all of that's gone. I'm feeling happy and feeling amazing and feeling high on life. And like I said before, I'm not telling you how to live your life. If you don't feel you have a problem with drinking, by all means, live the way you want to live. But if you're somebody who's struggling on the inside, and you feel like you have an addiction, or maybe you just want to take a break, I promise you, you won't regret it. And for how long we're on this planet, give yourself maybe just a month, just to see how you feel. Your body deserves at least a month to not be poisoned. That's another thing, like getting drunk is poisoning yourself just enough. And that's a little bit creepy to me. And we live in this society where alcohol is based around everything. When you're happy, you drink. When you're celebrating, you drink. If you win a game, you drink. If you lose a game, you drink. When you're happy, you drink. When you're sad, you drink. When you're, you know what I mean? It's everywhere. And it's kind of sad that we're revolved around this poison, because so many people are out there self-medicating and don't go within and have self-love. So they fill this void with a substance. And I just want to let you guys know that you can feel happy on your own without a substance. You can have self-love. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I'm all about the power of the mind and self-healing and the power of self-love. When you go within and you find self-love, you won't need to self-medicate with these things. So I hope that this helps inspire you if you're somebody looking to quit drinking. Please know that you can get better, you can feel happy again, and you will. Go within, look up books on self-love, meditate, treat your body well, eat good foods, put good things inside of you. You are what you eat and you are what you drink. If you're putting bad things into your body, you're gonna feel negative and bad. If you're putting high vibrational foods and liquids into your body, you're gonna feel good and you can help yourself. So I hope this reaches out to anyone who is struggling. Just know that you 100% can turn your life around. Even if you're in the lowest low point of your life, the universe works in mysterious ways. There's always lessons to be learned. I wouldn't trade any road that I've taken because everything's led me to where I am right now in my life. And this is the happiest and the most confident in myself I've ever been. And I'm actually finding out who I am without 15 years of suppressed emotions and cloudedness. And it's just the most freeing feeling. It's like alcohol was this resistance band and it was pulling me back and pulling me back. And now that I've cut that band, I'm like, I'm sailing through life and I'm loving every minute of it. And I just want you to know that you can feel so good. You just have to believe in yourself. And really, you have to want it. You have to really want it. I hope this inspires you. Comment down below if you felt inspired by this video. Comment down below if you have any questions. Also, leave a comment about what kind of videos you would like to see in the future. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And to all my lovers out there, I send you love and light. And to all my haters out there, I send you extra love and light and many hugs. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out, Earthlings.